Other
We're
hand.
doing-
We're gonna hit it in a second.
I want to do it.
Okay. I'll tell you guys when to hit it.
Okay.
You hit it 2 times.
Okay. 2 times.
Okay, go ahead. Hit it hard. Good job. Okay, take that with you. Go see mom. Call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is approval of the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda.
Been moved and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item is the consent agenda.
I approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Jay approves the consent agenda. Julie seconds Jay's approval. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next, is there anybody from the public like to speak to something that's not on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll go to special reports and presentations. So I'm gonna say a few words, and then I'll present Susan's gift from the city. One, I just wanna thank, first my family. They have stood beside me for the last 8 years, of not being home, of being at meetings, of listening to complaints, of celebrating in some of the successes. And without my wife, I couldn't have done this for the last 8 years. So I want to say thank you to them and thank you to my kids for mostly listening to mom when I'm gone. Next, I want to thank the city employees. We have, in my opinion, by far the best group of city employees in the state of Kansas, in the entire Midwest. Their willingness to jump forward and help, their willingness to take our crazy ideas and make them a reality, is bar none. They've never hesitated. They've never swayed from doing the work that it required to accomplish some of these goals. So I would just, a heartfelt thank you to all the city employees that have been and will continue to be with the city. So thank you. Next, thank you to the community members. It's no different than raising a family. Running a community takes a village. It takes volunteers. It takes business owners willing to donate money. It takes people willing to serve their community in all different levels, and show their support at special events, at nonprofit events, different things. I mean, that's what makes our community special and what makes it turn. So thank you to our community. And finally, thank you for the council, for all the sometimes heated discussions and normal discussions throughout the years. Willingness to always question the status quo, willing to think outside the box. You guys put in a ton of work, a lot more than what is seen, for a couple hours every other Tuesday. So the work and effort that this group has put into this community over the last 6 years has been tremendous, and it has been reflected on the success that we have been able to see while working hand in hand with the city employees as well as the community through that time. So I want to say thank you to the council for your willingness to serve up here, and for those that continue to serve, good luck. And I'm sure Susan and I will always be around to help if needed. The council, over the last 6 years, it's rare that you get to serve with one council for 6 straight years. And I feel like we've become more than acquaintances. We've become friends. Friends still do argue and disagree, but we always circle back to that agreement to come to that common ground, whether neither one are happy or all are happy or some are happy and some aren't. But we're always willing to go to the next task and do that. So, Susan, before I present, do you want to say anything?
I didn't prepare anything, but I did want to say, Casey, it's been such a pleasure serving alongside you for the last 8 years. Your leadership has been second to none, and your leadership is going to have a tremendous lasting impact on this city for years and years to come. So thank you.
you.
And, to this council, it's been such a pleasure. Like Casey said, we didn't always agree on every single thing, but that was the point of having 5 of us, right? And we all did, I think, have a pretty common vision for the city of Baldwin, and we always seem to come back to that place. And most importantly, the citizens, of course, thank you. You taught me humility and the importance of listening, and the city staff, you guys are the heartbeat of the city. So thank you.
So I guess I'll do the presentation since you're right here, from here so that everybody can hear. So Amra, I have to thank her for going out and finding this stuff for you. I'll read it to you if I can. With deepest appreciation, honoring Councilmember Susan Pitts in honor of your dedicated service and invaluable contributions to our community, your leadership and commitment have made a lasting impact. So again, specifically to Susan, I want to thank her for her service the past 6 years. Like every council member, she's not always agreed with me, but we've been able to discuss things, talk through difficult decisions, and come to a meeting of the minds and a mutual understanding of where we each sat on different things. Specifically, her work on the Sullivan Square, the sidewalks, the community center, increased public safety equipment, your openness to listen to different ideas and think outside the box, your willingness to assist wherever is needed and whenever is needed. And I want to thank you for your desire to continue to serve the community on the Blackjack Committee. So you'll continue that great service. Susan's been the only one that's been with me the entire 8 years. So it's interesting where we started. We started as really not knowing each other to now somebody that I can really call a friend. So I want to thank you for everything, your immense amount of hours given to the city, as well as your dedication to doing what you feel is best for the city of Baldwin City. So thank you.
Thank you, Casey.
I'll give you this stuff. You can package it back up. Oh, well, I guess I got to present the other thing.
Okay.
Man. I don't know what it is. Oh, I know what it is.
Bubble wrap.
This is for all your late nights enjoying the council meetings from afar on the
nice.
TV and getting to think about all the exciting times we had in Baldwin City.
love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you.
I'm gonna let you package that up because
Yes.
I'm not the best at it.
Give that to me before
That's
you
why
break
my
it.
wife wraps the Christmas gifts.
Thank you.
All right.
I think I'm up. So I was asked to present some recognition to Mayor Semino and say a few words. I didn't prepare anything, but really don't need to. Just speak from, from the heart. Casey, witnessed him spending thousands of hours over the past 6 years that I've been involved, tirelessly working to improve Baldwin City. Every single one of those hours was meant to do that. I think he's had tremendous success in that. Just looking around at what's transpired over the last 8 years, from where we were and where we are now. I mean, that's your legacy, which is fantastic. I think leadership is a skill, right? And I think you've demonstrated it at the highest level. I think being a mayor is extremely difficult. If you've got a vision, things you want to see happen, you don't have a vote, right? So you've got to get a majority of the 5 votes to see that vision and line up with it. So indirect influence, indirect leadership is very difficult. And you did it extremely well, just based on on your track record. So I want everybody to understand that that's really one of your strengths. And you don't see that. You're not up here voting and talking at council meetings necessarily, but it's the preparation, it's the committee meetings, it's the one-on-ones to share what you want to get done, ask for guidance, feedback, ask for what everybody else wants to see done, and then just come into some reasonable plan. And you did it extraordinarily well. Very impressed. So my personal thanks to you for that. And I also know that, I think you have some career ambitions. You were looking to maybe move on a new direction. And we're really on the fence about running again. And, that's a personal decision, and you ask for a lot of help. And, I'm not going to tell somebody what they should or shouldn't do. But what I was impressed with is the fact that I think one of the reasons, obviously, you want to continue to develop, your vision for Baldwin. I think one of the biggest reasons that I was impressed with is that you wanted to make sure the citizens had a choice. So if there was only one person running, whoever it was, you were going to jump in just so people have a choice. And I think that's very important. I know you do too. I think we all should aspire to that. So thank you for that. I know there's things you want to go do and you are going to do, but you're willing to commit 4 more years, so I appreciate you stepping up. All I can say is I hope that you continue to stay engaged somehow with your ideas. I know you're not shy. Bring them forward, share them. Your relationships you have at this county, state level, would love to continue to have you help leverage those as well. So just personally thank you for 6 years that I was involved in your last 8 years. And as a token, would like to present this gavel. It says, Mayor Casey Simoneau, thank you for your service and dedication to the citizens of Baldwin City, 2018 through 2025. So before I present this, is there anything else any council members want to share?
You said it good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, with that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got a hug. Look at this.
Thank you, everyone, again, and thank you to the public for the support for the last 8.
Last thing. Not a wine glass, but maybe more appropriately a bourbon glass.
I do. I do drink bourbon.
And it says Baldwin City, Kansas, and it's got the lithograph map of the city with all the streets. You see it much better when it's full of bourbon. It's hard to see when it's empty, so enjoy.
Thank you. Again, thank you to the community, thank you to the council and to the staff that have served through the last 8 years. Some difficult times, but we came through them all, working as a team, working together. And with that, I will go to the next agenda item, which is swearing in of Jay King and Peter Wentz. We'll start there.
I do want to say that I just truly, it's been an honor to work with you guys or work for you guys the last several years.
Thank you.
And you will be missed.
Thank you. All right, Jay, I'm going to make you go first.
I gotta go down?
Yeah, you got to go down in the front.
Do you need a buggy?
I wasn't prepared.
I, please state your name. Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of the state of Kansas
of the state of Kansas
and the ordinances of the city
and the ordinance of the city
of Baldwin City, Kansas,
of Baldwin City, Kansas,
and will faithfully discharge the duties
and faithfully discharge the duties
of a council member of the city of Baldwin City.
of a council member of the city of Baldwin City.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Peter?
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Peter Wentz,
I, Peter Wentz,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States and the Constitution
of the United States and the Constitution
and laws of the State of Kansas
and laws of the State of Kansas
and the ordinances of the City of Baldwin City,
and the ordinances of the City of Baldwin City,
and will faithfully discharge the duties
and will faithfully discharge the duties
of a council member of the City of Baldwin City,
of a council member of the City of Baldwin City.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you. If you can, please sign.
Susan, don't forget your name tag.
Oh.
You can take that with you.
Okay,
Sure, I'll help you.
thank you.
Harold, you're up.
I'm going to have my family stand up with me, my granddaughter, my wife, my son, my grandson, my daughter-in-law, and my youngest granddaughter. They've all been very instrumental in my life and they're all very, very well. Gotten through difficult times, and I wanted to share this with me. My wife. Come up here, wife. Come on, I'm gonna make a scene.
Okay. If you can please repeat after me.
I will do that.
All right. I, Gerald Cullenberg,
I, Gerald Cullenberg,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of the State of Kansas
of the State of Kansas
and the ordinances of the City of Baldwin City,
and the ordinances of the City of Baldwin City,
and will faithfully discharge the duties
and will faithfully discharge the duties
of the Mayor of the City of Baldwin City,
of the Mayor of the City of Baldwin City.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you.
Thank you. I wanted to thank this guy. Thank you.
We don't get to touch that. That's just a screen. You'll get your iPad that you can.
No, yeah.
This is just for us. This is just for me and you to look at if we don't bring our iPad or anything. Mhm. These are on your iPad. Like, yeah. She'll share them.
It's okay.
Before we get started with our business, I'd just like to take a couple minutes to do a couple little things here. First of all, I'd really like to thank Casey Semino, the mayor. When I won this election, he was very friendly, professional, understanding, and told me at any given moment I need his assistance, his help, to let him know. And I think that speaks volumes of who he is, his character, and what he's done. And I think he's done an excellent job. I hope that I can carry on with the momentum that he has built, keep moving forward, and we'll see where this goes. I have to admit, too, I'm very happy to have the council that I have. I've met with Scott, met with Corey, I've talked to Peter, Jay and Julie. We're going to get together sometime, I know. But what I think has been the best thing is, and I'm echoing, I hate that. Let me get this down here. I think the best thing is I have asked each of them to guide me a little bit, to look out for me, kind of prep me and bring me along. And to a letter, they have all said, what you need, we'll make sure you get. We will make sure that we help you, that we assist you, that we are there to support you, that we work as a group. I can say the same thing for our new city administrator, Russ, who I have to admit burned up more time with him than anyone possible. His wife's probably wondering what's going on. But I think with the assistance that I have, it's going to be great. Again, I don't know if we'll always agree, but I think the thing is that we respect each other and keep moving forward. I appreciate everyone who voted for me and who supported for me. My buddy out there, Jerry Smith, Tina, thank you. Everyone's helped me out. I greatly appreciate it. And with that, let's get moving forward. Let's get started. And the way I think we're going to do this is, do we have any old business we need to approve, correct? So we're good with that? Great. Do I need to make a motion? All right, thank you, sir. Then we're going to move on to the new business, and that is the election of a council president. And that is something I understand that you all, as the council, decide who's going to assume that responsibility and duty. So I'm turning it over to you.
I nominate Scott Lordson to continue because he's been doing such a good job.
Second.
Yep, my third.
Scott, you were just volunteered.
That's how this council works. Like steamroll.
Thank you. So now do we need to make a motion on that?
Yeah, I move to approve Scott Lordson as council president.
Second.
Motion's been made. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Not Scott, you can't speak, so, all right, that's who it is, Scott. We're gonna move on to the next one then. This is ordinance 1529, a conditional use permit for a short-term rental, 920 Grove. Council?
So I'll kind of start off with
Sorry,
this.
Russ, there you go.
No worries. So this is ordinance 1529. This is for a conditional use permit for a short-term rental. The property address is 920 Grove Street. It was heard at Planning Commission on December 9th and passed unanimously for approval to send on to City Council for final approval. We didn't have anybody from the public that was opposed to it that showed up to the Planning Commission, and it was approved unanimously.
Okay, good. Amber, do you have a question? I don't see any. All right, you're welcome. Is there any conversation with the council, discussion?
I just had a couple of things. We've obviously talked about short-term rental, conditional use permits, and I guess the first question I have is, we always do a / Airbnb, but to me, that's a commercial enterprise that really has nothing to do with any of our regulations. So the question is if it isn't an Airbnb, is it not work, or why are we even putting that in this?
I think it's something that we had started with years prior, that all the prior ones had that in there. I don't know that it necessarily limits it to just Airbnb. It could be VRBO. And we can take that out too and just have it a short-term rental.
That's really what it is. Short-term rental, whether they go through Airbnb or VRBO or nobody at all.
Yes.
You can still do that. So it's just confusing that this is somehow representing that enterprise.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, and the other thing is, it talks about zoning and use regulations not, modified by the conditional use permit. Are there actual regulations in that conditional use permit that we don't see here?
No. Everything in the conditional use permit is on here.
Okay. So I guess I have to ask the question is, why do we even need this?
This was part of, my understanding is part of state statute when they first originally did these, because I asked that back when Ed Corton was our community development director at the time, why we did that, why we put that in there, because it's confusing to somebody looking from the outside in. It's like, why would you even say those things? But that's where he told me it came from.
Okay. So just to be clear, there's no additional regulations above and beyond our current county and city zoning regulations?
Correct. Yeah.
So really, those apply whether this CUP's in place or not?
Yes.
Okay. So I guess for future thought, do we really even need these if we're not imposing any additional regulations other than what the city code and county is?
Correct.
Okay. All right. That's all I had. Questions?
Did we skip a step and not let the public have a chance to go on this?
We do.
Yeah, I was going to follow up.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's part of the planning commission, I think, that's published.
So, you know, part of with how it works with somebody who turns in a conditional use permit for like a short-term rental, the application comes into me, then I get it in the newspaper. It has to be in the newspaper 20 days or longer prior to the date of the public hearing. The date of the public hearing is the planning commission. Then we also send out mailers. I send out mailers to anybody that is within 200 feet of that property in question, of any part on their parcel. And if it's within close to the county, it's within 1,000 feet that they could do that. So we try to give it to where the citizens that are affected by it get true notification in case they don't read the newspaper.
And they met all the approval from Stu and everything, did the checks and
Yes. This has made all the requirements.
Any further discussion? Ordinance 1529, conditional use permit, short-term rental, 920 Grove. All in favor?
Public comment.
So,
Oh, I'm sorry, yes,
Did
thank
public
you, sir.
comment.
a couple things, public comment, and then I think we wrap up, and then I think one of us makes a motion to approve it, but we would have taken yours and just run with it, which we do.
Recognize Jerry Smith.
Jerry, come to the podium. We got to be able to hear you.
Jerry Smith, 1308 High Street, Baldwin City, Kansas. No, you hear me?
Now we got you.
Hello? Jerry Smith, 1308 High Street, Baldwin City, Kansas. What do you call short term? How long is short term?
I think short term is defined in different aspects of, 30 days or less or 5 days or less. It's just anything a month or less is from what I read.
So is there a stipulation that says at the end of a month they have to leave? Does our city code say anything about the length of time?
It necessarily does not say on the length of time. Like a length of time, say so any residence in town can be considered a long-term rental if they're renting a true month-to-month, or if they're on a lease per se. And that would be considered like a long-term rental. But short-term is usually anything 30 days or less.
But we have no stipulations that say that.
So there's not necessarily stipulations, but that's kind of how it's defined.
Thank you.
Anyone else would like to make a comment?
Joe Torkelson. I own some properties in town. I own an Airbnb in town as well. I guess my only public comment is kind of what you guys briefly discussed on what is the point of this. People that are going through it legally have to pay the fees for it and everything. Like, they're not getting a benefit. We can just have people that go through it and not pay the fees and save the processing fees, save the time. I mean, that's kind of my public comment. What is the point of this? You're making us pay money to do something that most people aren't following the rules. So, I mean, moving forward, if I'm going to do another one, what's going to be my repercussion for doing it? Guarantee there's not one. So that's my only comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone care to reply or say anything?
I think, one question, are these in effect indefinitely?
So how this works is that with a conditional use permit, whether it's a short-term rental or it's something else, it stays with that property owner. So when the applicants, if they were to go and sell this property to whoever, it would terminate at that point. It doesn't live on forever. It only lives with the true applicants that applied for this. So that's really the only end in sight is for that. unless there's put in for, you know, terms or, you know, different stuff like that.
And what's the process of making a property a full-term rental in Baldwin City?
So there is really no process for a full-term, you know, 365-day year. There is no process.
So if there's no process for a full rental, why is there a process for a short-term rental?
I wish I could answer that question, but this is kind of what we've done in the past, with, you know.
I mean, yeah, I get it. I kind of agree with our public commenter that it's only.
Shay's gonna talk to us about liability.
Well, what I will tell you is kind of, the problem is that the city ordinance does not necessarily cover what you guys are requesting. My understanding is that there was some discussion about whether or not the city wanted to have something in place that would cover it. And so one of the things I had been tasked with that I provided previously was, this is what some of the surrounding communities are doing. Some people have nothing. Lawrence has something that's really pretty well developed, and here are some options. You have DeSoto that has something in the middle. But at this point, Baldwin City doesn't have anything. So I think part of the process you're doing, which my understanding is that there are some staff, some city employees who like that because they like the idea of being able to go in and to evaluate it and make sure that there's some safety measures in place. But the city ordinance does not specifically require it. So you are creating a situation, which I always get concerned with, that you may have issues with it being either enforceable or enforced uniformly. If you want to have an ordinance that addresses this, then I think you need to have an ordinance that addresses it. If not, like everything else, you fall back on whatever state statute that covers it and you move on from there. But I'm not sure exactly why the process started of doing a conditional use permit. It looks like some people are doing it, some people are not, but that's something, as the attorney, I'm always concerned about, because you are not using it uniformly and there's not a process that does that.
Tina, would you like to say something?
Thank you, Mayor and Commission. Tina Rakes, Baldwin City. Of course, I was here when short-term rental became a thing across the country. And I think you're correct, there wasn't anything in there. So we just elected to say it's kind of a conditional use is kind of a catch-all. If it's not listed as an approved use, because we all know you can't list everything under the sun in approved uses in each zone. So if there isn't something that's compatible to that use in any zone, commercial, residential, then a discussion is had whether it should be to fall under a conditional use, to be heard by the Planning Commission for a recommendation to move forward to the City Council. One of the things with short-term rentals, again, I will say that I served on the board of directors with the International Code Council for 2 terms, and this was an issue across the country because you could be in a multifamily zone, which people aren't probably going to notice as much because there's already a lot of activity. It's high density. Then you drop down to your duplex, you know, your 2-family, and then your single family. Well, people are going to start noticing if you have weekend stays, and they're going to start getting a little concerned. It's like, you know, we got drug deals over there. What's going on? There's cars coming and going, and my kids, and it's a real thing. It was mentioned, you know, are there any other regulations besides what we have? Conditional use is just that. You can impose conditions. They don't have to be. You have to learn to work outside of the print in a book and know what the intent is. Read your state statutes, read your city code, make sure you aren't, you know, operating outside your city code. And if you are, by golly, get with your committees, your planning commissions, get some proposed language and see if you need to write a rule. No different than
taking stuff out that's archaic. I mean, that's a lot of work. And we all know it just takes time to put new in and take the old out. But that's where it came from. So as far as the incentive, what incentivized me? Well, you currently, we have that. If you call staff, they're going to say conditional use. And if somebody say, well, what's the fine? Maybe I'll just take the fine and I'll just do what I want. I've heard that. What happens if it's not just a single family home that somebody is making a short term? All of a sudden it's like, well, I got a basement, I got a walkout basement, I got a side door, I'm gonna make this a triplex, I'm gonna make this a duplex. Well, guess what? Now you are violating your zoning. You're in a single family zone. You can't have a duplex or a triplex or a fourplex. So it gets really muddy. So I would strongly encourage to stay the course, to have something for transient nature, short-term rental in Baldwin City. Do homework, call other communities, visit with your councils, see what she's has to say about it, but don't have blinders on that, oh, it's just a single family home that's going to be short term. Somebody can take a big old 3-story house and all of a sudden you've got 6 units and it's all short term and in a single family area right off of a Baker or something. I mean, you just got to be careful. There's a lot of components that come in just besides life safety. There's zoning and all different kind of stuff. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Just so I'm clear, I don't want to be misunderstood. I'm not suggesting that you shouldn't have a policy. What I'm saying is that you don't have one. And the city needs to decide if they want one, but you do not have one presently. I'm not saying it's not a great idea. I'm not saying that you should or should not. I'm saying if you want to have one, the way that it's being approached right now is something I would think is probably the worst way to do it, which is having just individual people come in and they are doing something that no one else is doing, and then it's not being enforced uniformly.
It would make more sense if there was policy surrounding long-term rentals that you could then, okay, this is what we're deviating from. These are the conditions that we need in order to deviate. It feels strange having something out in limbo with nothing to attach it to as to which direction to go.
I guess I did want to add to what you said. Like, I agree that, getting these properties up to code, not putting someone in a basement without egress, I agree that that's what needs to be done. What I was reiterating is just there's nothing being enforced with the properties in town that are not going through this legal process or through this process. So that's my big point is what I was making at, like, yes, make something happen then to where if it's an illegal Airbnb, we're either doing something about that or there's no rules for anyone. So, thank you.
I kind of agree. I think the problem is when you put ordinance out there, one, it requires enforcement. And if you're not prepared to enforce it, now you are liable, right? Because you set a bar and you said, well, this is what you need to do, and we're going to enforce that. If we don't, which is a lot of manpower, women power, and something happens, we are now liable. And that concerns me. I don't know what our current enforcement is if somebody has a 3-story house and they go, build bedrooms and bathrooms and have people living in there. Do we go enforce that under single family currently? So those are the things I think we need to think about. I'm all for it if it's doable. I'm not for it if it's not going to be doable because we just expose ourselves. And I don't think we expose ourselves if someone breaks code, whether it's family members or a short-term rental, it's still the same issue, right? You're not up to code. So, I think we still need to have some decisions, some work done on whether we want to put something in place. I think we need to probably continue forward. I guess the other question I had for you, Shay, is, you know, are these conditional use permits grandfathered in if we go forward with an ordinance then that does something different or puts regulations on now that they have this cup that doesn't have any regulations?
If, what I would argue is likely yes. The gray area, give the typical lawyer answer, it depends. The gray area is, I think there's an argument to be made that they don't need a conditional use permit right now.
Right.
So if they were to say, fine, I don't want to use my conditional use permit, then I think that they would have an argument for that. Likewise, if they were to say, you already said I could do this, and here's what it is, I think they could use that. But it ultimately doesn't really answer the question, because they're still going to be required to comply with whatever terms the city decides they need, whether they already have the permit and they didn't need it, or we now say they need it later and they don't.
Right.
So I don't think it ultimately prevents you from saying,
Right.
these are the safety standards we are putting in place, you have to do it. I do think it would prevent them from having to go through and start a process from the beginning and do that.
Right.
And then you write it into the ordinance if that's what your intention was.
Okay, for example, right now, let's say I start renting out my garage. You know, they got so we make it all insulated, real nice in there. How would that be? What ordinance is in place right now? What would be enforceable there? Because it seems like it would already be in violation of the zoning. So what do we have in place that would have any teeth for a violation of zoning? Because go ahead.
So, generally speaking, there are statutes in place, right, from the state that say if you're going to rent a property to somebody, period, it's going to be subject to residential use. These are the bare minimum of things that you have to do. So when you were talking about, for instance, for long-term rentals, that sort of stuff, they are still subject to that, even though the city doesn't have something very specific.
Okay.
The reason that some cities have opted to have things in place for short-term rentals is because they want to imply or require additional things to either discourage people from having multiple short-term rentals, and then they have some other sort of interest in why they want to do that. So maybe, for instance, I'm most familiar with Lawrence, obviously, since that's where I live. There are parts of Lawrence that we said, as a city, we need to have place for single families to live. We want to discourage people from having short-term rentals or from having students live here. So that's why you can't have more than 3 people who aren't related, because they have identified that as a specific interest, right? So the point of the city's ordinances is to make things more harder to do that in order to make sure that other interests are being represented. So that's why you would want an ordinance in place, right? It doesn't eliminate them from having to comply with any other state statutes are in place. This is just providing additional requirements. Right. So if the city were to say, hey, we want to at least know where all of them are, we are going to require, if you're going to do a short-term rental, 1, you're going to have to define that for yourselves, but 2, if you're going to have a short-term rental, these are the things that you have to do. That would be the point of doing it, but you do have to have somebody who enforces it. There will always be someone who will figure out a way around, but the question is, do you have a problem that you need to address? That's generally, I will tell you, that's my rule for all things. Do you have a problem that you need to have some very big change to address?
Let me ask you a question here, if I can kind of join in this conversation, in that, as our legal advisor, I know I had discussion with Scott. My concern is, whether this is adopted by the city council or not, I want a mechanism somewhere there that allows our police chief, our fire chief, to say if we're having problems at a bed and breakfast or short-term stay, that there is some mechanism for the city to go, this is over. Your short-term stay status is revoked or whatever, it's out. So and I'm gonna ask you a very attorney question here. As our city legal, as our city attorney, in your opinion, you think this needs more work, or you think it's just fine, we should just look at it and move on forward? I want your opinion.
I think what you have presented as a specific ordinance is not appropriate to do what you want it to do. I think if the city wants to have what you just said in place, different measures, to sort of pigeon off just a little bit, if there are disturbances, the city will always have the right to disrupt whatever's going on there. that will always be something that they have some control over. But if you want to have a specific measure that addresses these things and puts in the same rules, all I'm saying is that the city has skipped a step. You don't have something in place that actually does that.
All right, thank you, Counselor.
No problem.
I can appreciate your thoughts about enforcement. And you've heard me say the staffing from the department that does enforce that has gone from 4 to 1. But I will also say, as our former mayor, and you guys all know, we have a great team in the city. And years ago, and Mike probably remembers this, community policing was a thing. You remember that?
Yeah.
That's how we work together. You know, power department all of a sudden gets a request for 4 meters set on a single family home. Or police get called for something and find out there's 30 people living in a home. I mean, it just happens like that. Have we had people living in the garages? Yep. What do we do when we find out? Because you know who's your best advocates? Your neighbors. They pay attention. Somebody's living in a garage, and sometimes it's not easy. We had one when I was here up on Dearborn, and oh my, no plumbing, I mean, it was a garage. And it was a long time because they would sneak in, and the police would have to go at 3 o'clock because it's like, well, I'm when they're working on my lawnmower. So he'd say, well, you shouldn't be in there at 3 o'clock in the morning. Somehow you got to find some parameters to say, you're living here. We're not stupid. You know, and it's, again, there's not a rule for everything, but it right now, if you do put it in place, it takes a village, just like you said. It takes a team. We're all watching out. The neighbors call in, the employees know, and that's how you accomplish that. And because it's happened in the past. So I just wanted to share that's one mechanism.
Thank you.
Is there a cost for applying for a cup?
So the cost for applying for the conditional use permits is $125.
And what's the fine if they don't?
I don't think it's defined.
We have work to do.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, it needs to hurt. If you're gonna go about it the wrong way, it needs to hurt. Because it's punishing the people that are doing it the right way, and that's not fair. So, I think we got a lot to work on with this, but as for now, I think we go ahead and approve this one, or at least put it to a vote because they've done it the right way. Let's get them moving on and upward, and then like Scott said, we got work to do on this, and because it's not fair to everyone doing it the right way for people that are doing it the non-correct way to just skate free. So, and I think with the World Cup coming up, we got to get it done because I think we're going to see a lot more of these coming up, and so
We need a cup for the cup.
mm-hmm.
I think the one thing, I agree with you, Jay. I think the one thing that I appreciate with this process is the public hearing. So the neighbor input, right? And that's part of what I think we all like to see is there, so to your point, we need to figure out how do we get that. We need to figure out the enforcement piece, what that looks like. And then I think to your point, Corey, I think we need to also look at long-term rental. I mean, what are we doing around, ordinances around that? It's all related. Because how do you define a short-term versus a long-term? If we don't have a long-term rental ordinance, then.
Yeah, and if we don't need to go more stringent than the statute, then.
Right.
We just leave
We
it
look
be.
at the state statute, go, that's acceptable, and we just make it known that we're just gonna line up with state statute. So I agree with you, Jay. I think we probably need to move this forward, based on how we got here. So I'll move, we pass ordinance 1529, removing the Airbnb reference in the ordinance, otherwise as presented.
Second. Go ahead, take it.
You're good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All against?
We have to do roll call on
You have to do a
ordinance.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
Roll call. Keep me straight.
No, I was asking. I don't remember.
With the ordinances, yeah.
Ordinance has to be roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I forgot to. Whichever direction you want to go.
Doesn't matter.
Call for Jay, then Peter.
Okay. Thanks,
Yes.
folks. Bear with me.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, now, good?
Yeah.
All right, ordinance passed, no nays. Ordinance 1529, conditional use permit, short-term rental passed, correct? We good? All right, now we're gonna move on to final plat for daycare. Russ?
Yeah, so this is the final plat for the daycare that's off of Ridge Lane and 400 Road. This plat meets all the requirements for the final plat. It's been heard at Planning Commission and approved. That's really all I've got for it.
Discussion?
Ask if anybody in the audience has any,
I'm sorry, sir?
you might ask if anybody in the audience has any comments.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Does anybody in the audience have any comments they'd like to make? Thanks again for bearing with me. No one? Any discussion with council?
Yeah, I think it's gone through the proper channels, and I know they're eager to get going, and I know we need daycare, and so.
Yep, it's a great service to the community, I think, so. And it's on the edge of the whole subdivision. That's great.
Sounds like you want to make a motion.
Yeah.
Peter.
Yeah. All right. I motion to approve. Let's see. The final plat for the daycare facility located at Ridge Lane and North 400 Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All against? Scott, just for my roll call, do we do this on?
I want to do a roll call every time.
Okay, good, that's all I need to know. No, just, you can,
I'm teasing you.
roll call. This time I'm gonna start with Julie.
Don't listen to everything he
Yeah,
says.
listen to half of what I suggest.
Julie,
Yes.
We're all eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not an ordinance, so.
here we go. Now we good? We're solid? All right, thank you. That's a technical term, by the way, solid, so. That passes, agreed upon. Now we go to 4, ordinance 1530, municipal cost index for utilities. Russ?
So this is ordinance 1530. This is the municipal cost index for utilities. Currently, how it's set up is that the MCI would actually go into effect January 1. We decided, we talked about it at Budget and Finance, how it would make more sense if we waited till February 1 as opposed to January 1. That way, the council as a whole can look at the full fiscal year from January through the end of December, and then, make adjustments from there. So that's what this ordinance does, is it puts everything in line to be able to do that for February on and prior.
Any community comments? Questions, concerns? Okay,
You're getting it.
okay, now, do we still do a roll call?
Just council comments, yeah.
Council comments,
Or
thank you.
discussion, actually.
Yeah.
I think Russ covered it. It's entitled the MCI, the Municipal Cost Index. It's the equivalent of the Consumer Price Index. So the things we buy, that's done monthly, and you get a year average. This is the things that municipalities buy to run, utilities, et cetera. And what we've put in all the utility ordinances is that without council action, it's automatically, the rates are automatically adjusted to the prior year's MCI, or I guess the go forward MCI number. So if the council doesn't make any rate adjustments, it adjusts itself based on the ordinance in place by that amount. And I think this year is like 2.9%.
Correct.
So what this does is just change the starting date of that change. It was January 1, and we talked about that in the last council meeting. It's like, well, if we waited till February 1, we're going to miss a month that it's not gonna change, but we'll at least have better data on the prior year, and then we'll start the new rates on February 1. So that's really what this change to this ordinance is. The MCI has been in there, we're just changing the start date. All I had.
We got. Anyone else?
Nope.
Make my motion, right? Do roll call.
I move we accept ordinance number 1530 as presented.
Second. Julie, take it.
Roll call, because it's an ordinance. This is the one I was looking at when I thought we had to have a roll call.
Okay.
So we do have to have a roll call.
Okay, so do we do a roll call? Julie?
Yes.
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 Okay, passes. Ordinance 1530 is adopted. Our next one in line, and this one keeps throwing me a little bit because I keep thinking of an old term that I used in my COP days, but we need to do an MPO appointment.
So the MPO, so just to give you a little bit more insight into that, MPO stands for the Metropolitan Planning Organization. Basically, what they do is they look at bike plans, the Transportation 2050 plan, Vision Zero Safety Plan, and this kind of encompasses all of Douglas County per se. We currently have a seat on the policy board that is a seat open for one of our council members to be on. Every third year we have voting rights, and this year we do have voting rights. This is our year. So this is a group that meets sometimes monthly, but more than likely usually quarterly through Zooms. So that's kind of how it's all set up.
Okay. Now, is that something we just discuss, or do I appoint?
Yeah, you discuss.
Discuss it. Let the discussion begin.
I think Pete would be great for this.
I think he's so well
I think so,
suited
too.
for it.
I think he was,
He has to volunteer.
he can say no.
I have myself written down on the agenda already.
He prepared himself for the last council meeting.
One vote no isn't going to matter anyways.
Nope. So do we need official vote on that, or we just appoint him?
We need a motion.
I move to approve Peter Wentz to the MPO as the Baldwin City Council Representative.
Second.
Just all in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
All right, good, thank you.
Thanks,
Peter?
Peter.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Peter.
Peter. It'll be an honor.
Thank you. Now we're going to move on to our budget, or our committees, and do a little check-in on those. So, budget and finance.
We did meet, and so we talked about the MCI. We met to discuss the potential rate increases needed for 2026. We spent most all the time on the electric utility. Based on what we have, we don't have the full year data in yet, but based on what we have, it looks like the MCI of 2.9% should be sufficient to cover the rate increase. So what happens every year is we come together in January, and by the end of February as a council, we decide what we want the rates to be. If we don't do anything, they're the MCI. If we need to add to that, then it's MCI plus to get. Typically, we need to look at where our reserves are projected to be. If the MCI doesn't get us there, we need to add some to the rate to make sure that we end up with the reserve balance that the council wants to see at the end of the year. And a lot of times we'll have 3-year get well programs where our reserve may be below our policy right at the bottom, and we may have plans to get it to policy within 1 or 2 years. So we don't yet really know where our reserves going to end up till we see the final auditing of 2025. And then at that point, at the next council meeting, we'll come forward with sharing all that information. Here's what the MCI increase would look like. This would get us to a reserve of X. And as a council, we discussed, is that what we want? Is that appropriate? Is that more than we need? Is that less than we need? And then we would then adjust the rate increase based on that goal that we want to get to. So we'll know at the next meeting. We'll have that conversation. we didn't have the water, Lawrence water increase information yet. I think we have it now.
We do have it as of now.
Okay. Would you like to share that?
So it's looking like just the pass-through cost is gonna be 8.9%. So, I mean, pretty much 9%, just on the cost that, it's gonna cost us just to buy it. I mean, that's no markup, that's nothing, just what it cost. So,
Did they give a reason for that?
no,
That's a pretty big job. They doing big infrastructure stuff? Did they?
I'm not for sure. I can reach out to them and see why, and try to get some answers.
I'd like to know just to explain it to everyone else.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Is it, Scott?
Now, I was waiting to, you finished with that, Russ?
Yes.
Cool. Okay, thanks. So we talked about the electric utility bill, changing the format, pulling the debt fee out of the rate and making it its own line item like you have on your water, okay? So we'll bring that forward as well. We'll show you what that's gonna look like. Old format of your bill and then with the new format. I mean, the numbers will stay the same. They'll add up to the same amount for the month, but it'll just show up differently.
More description on the new one.
Exactly. So you'll actually know, because it was hidden in the rate, it was just electric rate, and there was more things in there than just electric charge. So it comes out, it's just to pay the debt for that utility. That will go down as we retire debt, it'll go up as we add debt. So it'll be clear on what your share of that is every month of that debt for the infrastructure, et cetera. So it's about as transparent as you can get from a utility billing perspective. And then we talked about we already talked about the MCI, the ordinance change to effective February 1. And then we also need to have a communication plan for these rates. We talked about that in budget and finance. Did we settle on it? I think just based on timing, we almost have to have something at the next council meeting or prior to the next council meeting as a forum and talk through it all for the community, and then maybe have a council meeting. So I think it's open for discussion on what we want to do there.
So there's not a set time in, I guess, in the communication plan where it says an exact date that you got to give 30 days notice. But I think that we do truly need to have a forum and talk through these things with the citizens.
And so just so you know, the timeline of that is we need to make that rate change by the second meeting in February because it's retroactive to, now it'd be the second reading in March, right?
No, for it to happen in February 1st rates and on,
right,
we would have to do it by the second meeting in February. We would have to vote on it because with how the billing system is set up, when we met, and it has to be published. And
So
that's the other thing is that we run into a really short month with February. So publishing, that could be.
So do we have enough time, second meeting in February before? Well, so bills go out, what, the 8th, or, I think, of the following month or something?
Yeah, the 8th through the 10th is when those bills go out.
Okay. Okay. So we could have that, that rate forum in February, at some point.
So could we do that before one of the council meetings? Like an hour before?
Maybe the first meeting in.
Yeah.
So I know the first meeting in February, we already have a late committee meeting scheduled at 6 o'clock for that.
Can it move?
Yeah.
What?
I'll have to visit with the committee chair on that, but I'm sure it can.
Yes, we can move it.
Thank you. So tentatively have schedule what, 6 o'clock?
I would say it's 6 o'clock, on Tuesday, February 3rd. And do we want to do multiple meetings or do we want to do a singular meeting or like what?
What have we done in the past?
So we've done, well, we haven't really done much in the past as far as community forums. Last time we did one, when we had with the rate changes, we did actually two. We did one on a weekend, and then we did one during the week.
But the one on during the week was actually way more attended than the one
Correct.
on the weekend. So
This is just for an annual.
I would think that
necessarily.
one for this
For the rate changes.
one would be sufficient.
So is this is any rate change, or this would just be?
This is what the council plans on setting the rates for 2026.
Okay.
It would include MCI, it would include Lawrence pass-through costs, it would include any reserve
No,
add-on.
it's just the MCI.
No, it's
would be
kind
all
of the final, this is what we're thinking on the final rates, and here's
Let
how
them know.
here's how we came up with it, and here's the rationale about why. I mean, similar to what we did for the electric utility, but in advance of, yeah, to allow feedback, discussion, answers, those sorts of things.
Just
So-
try to be more transparent and
Yeah.
get out in front of everyone.
I think preemptive one meeting is probably sufficient, and hopefully it'll get the word out across the community. So that way, if people, once we actually go to move in the second meeting, they have a chance to show up and have a full loaded opinion about whatever they, feel.
And they can share it before the council meeting if they want to share it individually and then come share it. That's a great point. But so I'm okay if, so are we going to put it in the bills or how are we going to announce this?
I'd like to make sure that the public is aware that.
Yeah, so one of the things we would be putting it out on Facebook, our website. I'm gonna have to visit with the billing and all that to make sure we can get a flyer in there. I don't think that they have everything bills printed, and so that we could do that through the folding system and put just a separate sheet in there.
And do we have our new communication system up yet, or no? Where the text messages?
So Audify, basically with how Audify is that so when we approved that at the last council meeting on the 16th, we talking with them with the holiday season and so much downtime, it was like, hey, they were willing to wait until after the first of the year to start the whole process. That way we get a full year, and then they can get into the planning and getting stuff out in front of people, because that was one of the things that we've got a meeting I think scheduled here next week with them on how we're going to move through that plan, how we're going to notify citizens, and that information would come out in the bill for January's utilities in February. Is kind of like the game plan for it.
I'm good with a single one, try it and see if we get feedback that it wasn't enough, and we just keep adjusting.
Sounds good.
That's all I had.
Corey, community development.
We have not met since the last meeting, and our next meeting is, I just had to pull up. It is on the 26th, 4 o'clock, second floor, City Hall.
I didn't tell you about our next meeting. It's Friday.
Oh, sorry.
Or excuse me, it's Thursday, 10 a.m. I don't think you got the second email. Hopefully you can make it.
Oh, I can make it.
Thursday, 10 a.m., second floor, City Hall.
Anything else, sir?
Nope, that's it. Yep.
Thank you. Public safety, Jay.
We have not met since the last meeting, and I'll need to send an email out and get a meeting date set for the next one now that Susan's off of that, because she always did the meeting date for that one. So I'll have to get with everyone and we'll get one hammered out.
Good, thank you. Public Works, Utilities. Julie.
Yes. We have not met since the last meeting, and our next meeting is this Thursday, which is the 8th, at 9 o'clock at the Public Works Building.
Thank you. Strategic planning.
We have not met. We don't have anything on the calendar, but I do think, as a new council and mayor, I think it probably makes sense at some point to do a strategic planning workshop, go through what we've got, talk about changes, talk about priorities, just so that, you know, this council and you have a chance for weighing in and make changes as we see fit. So we'll propose something on the calendar. I think after we get through the rate stuff, takes up so much time, maybe in March, we have a workshop. Everybody is invited to, and we can show up and have an hour-long discussion.
Good, thank you. Jay, Lake Advisory Committee.
We met tonight, and our next meeting was the first Tuesday in February, but we will get that moved. But I got some exciting news tonight. Things are looking up for 2 grants that we could possibly get. One is just a grant, and then one is a match grant up to $75,000. So the committee was really excited about those things. And then we've got some more data for the spillway that if once we get it designed and turn it in, we think we will have the approval necessary and everything right that we can move forward with the spillway if that's what we see fit and can raise the money, or however. That's going to be the big thing, is finding the money. I mean, we all know that's the name of the game for everything we want. But tonight was a great meeting for the Lake Committee. They were very excited with the grant news, and the Public Works Department went out and cleaned up some things out there earlier this week, and they do a great job out there. So thank you to Rob and his team, because they do a fantastic job. So yeah, if you haven't been out to the lake lately, go out to the lake. It's looking pretty dang good right now, and we're gonna keep moving forward to hopefully see this thing all the way through. So that's it.
Good. Thank you. Ross, any comments, staff? Go ahead.
No, I don't. Thank you.
All right. Then we'll move on to council, mayor comments. Council?
I had a quick one. Jay, you said the second one was a matching 75,000. What was the first one for?
It was through the Douglas County. It was like
Douglas County Heritage
Association, and that one was not a matching grant. It was just a grant.
How much?
60,000.
Upwards of 60.
I think it was 60,000 or so. Because I asked if there was a way we could use that grant to use that for the matching grant. But I didn't get an answer on that one. But thinking outside the box.
Thank you.
Oh, but yeah.
Anybody else? Just a couple quick things before we kind of close out tonight. I am looking at maybe switching up some committees that we'll have a conversation with everybody that's going to be affected here within the next week, so we know by the next council session who those committees and who's going to be on those committees. And again, I want to thank everyone for their support. The people who voted to put me here. I understand and have been told very early on that we have a remarkable city employee, pool of city employees, that it is some of the best around. And I have taken the opportunity the last several weeks just to contact city employees as I see them. How are you doing today? How's the world treating you? And they've all been fantastic, good employees, something we want to keep, someone we want to retain. Scott, Corey, you all missed your opportunity tonight. Amara, you could have said for your first session, Mayor, you need to run around the building twice, then come back in. And I would have looked at you and said, only twice? You know, so please bear with me as I kind of work through this. But, you know, I'm very excited. I know former Mayor Semino, I'm not quite sure he said good luck council. I don't know if he meant good luck for working with me or if he just meant good luck overall. But we'll get through this, work forward. I really appreciate, Scott, all y'all leading me on tonight, kind of directing me, and thank you. And I want to be a very open mayor, that if anyone has any questions, issues, please come see me. Might not always tell you the answer you want to hear, but I'll give you an answer. If it deals with our employees or departments, I'm going to direct you right back to the head of that department and say, that's who you need to talk to, or you need to talk to us. So with that, I don't think we have any reason for an executive session, do we? Okay, good. Then I guess the motion.
I move to adjourn.
All right. Second. All right. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, folks.